We're just about to get started here. And I'm just getting all the live chats all set together. Apologize for a little delay in the start. Seemed like one of the streaming services didn't want to start up, but we're pretty much all good now. We are live. If you're unfamiliar with who I am, I'm Chris Mizo. We talk about PC and tech, and there are some exciting PC deals I gotta mention, and there are some great upcoming products that are supposed to appear during Computex. I don't know if you're psyched for Computex or not, but I am certainly very excited because there's a lot of big brands out there that are going to reveal many different types of products, including Noctua. And I think what they're going to unveil is something like a case with a case collaboration with Antec, more than likely, and a power supply that they are working on too. I think they also have a lot more products coming out on that side. There's also ASUS where they are coming out with many different products over there, which are to be announced, as they have something very similar to the Zephyrus, but in a more portable form, you can say. And there is also many other items that I would like to bring up, such as new GPUs, as Intel is certainly expecting to bring something big to the table, especially when it comes to their Battlemade series. In fact, one of their manufacturers said that you can certainly expect it, and that it's going to be more of a beast than anybody does realize. And hopefully it will keep up with the competition, because if it does, then we can have another rival for NVIDIA and AMD, which is great for the GPU market, which means it can help normalize or stabilize the pricing when it comes to GPUs. So anybody that is coming in, I'm Chris Mizo. I talk about PC and tech. If you're wondering what this stream is about, if you're interested in that type of content, make sure you join this channel. And also, if you are interested in building a PC or upgrading any PC components, feel free to join our Discord channel, which I will post right here. And this is a great place to go if you guys need any help with any of your PC builds, or if you need a upgrade, or if you have some sort of troubleshooting issue that you have with your PC, feel free to ask, and that's what we will be here for. So one of the deals I certainly want to mention, and I'm excited about, is Newegg. Specifically, it's Newegg and possibly Micro Center. I know Micro Center has a couple deals going too, but I can say for certain, if you are nowhere near Micro Center, because I know there are only very few in the US, and if you're in other countries where you can't really go to a Micro Center, you could go to Newegg to go and purchase a Intel 265K or a 285K, because they have a really great deal. In fact, I'll just mention the 265K first, because not only do you get the processor, but you also get two different games that do come with this processor. You get Dying Light, and you also get Civilization 7. And another component that you also get with Intel's processor is that you can get some either RAM, or you can get a NVMe. It's either one is up to you, but you can get either or product, and that's all for $300. Micro Center has very good deals similar to that, but I know for them, they deal more with the AMD Ryzen side, which is great for those who do want to do an AMD Ryzen build. For example, they have a 9000 series where you can get some RAM and a motherboard with it for about $300, which is a great way to start, especially if you are just building a PC. I think it's a motherboard, but I have to double check, and we could check it out together on Micro Center to see if it is that. But they are having a bunch of different sales, such as, let me bring it up to you guys here, because it's really great stuff. And we are getting closer to Memorial Day, which will even have more sales. But it's called the Level Up sale that Newegg currently has. And I'll just show it on the screen here. Right here. And if you check it out, on their Level Up sale, it's right here. And if you have a tough time finding it, or if you want to just find the direct link, I do have it down in my description box down below. So you can certainly find it that way. Also, if you, this is the deal I'm talking about here. Again, it's a 265K for only $299. What's up, drawing time? Just to let you know, this is on sale. So you can get either RAM or a SSD. Now here's all the other bundled options with it. Now it does come with, it mentions Intel's Builders bundle because each one will vary depending on which one you get. But it does come with Dying Light, and it also does come with a Civilization 7. And you do get either SSD or RAM. So for example, if I go ahead and select one here, and if I add it to the cart, then I think it would show it. So I'm gonna go to the cart right now. And, well, actually, let me go here and check it out. Because usually they'll tell you what exactly is in the bundle. Like right here, G.Skill RIP Joel's M5 RGBs, 32 gigabytes. And it also comes with Civilization 7 or Dying Lights. If you guys can see that right there. It's in the green box if you're curious about what the gift offer is. But that's what Newegg is currently offering for their deal. It's not only just locked in for the 265K. You can also get it for the 245K even. But again, 265K is a much better deal. Again, they're charging the same price practically for the 265K, so you might as well get that. But if you're more of a creator and you are interested in gaming, streaming, and you're more into production type of deal, and you want to have more multi-core processes, then it's better to go to 85K. But of course, you're going to spend a little bit more money on it. It's going to be $588. What's up, Sanchez? Good to see you. I'm just talking about all the Intel deals that Newegg is currently having. It's their game deals that they're currently having that is something to truly take advantage of. And I just had to share this with you guys because this is the one where it features a NVMe with it. And again, this also does come with 2 games as well. It does come with Civilization 7, almost couldn't say that word, and Dying Light. So it does come with those 2 games, and it comes with a SSD specifically for the 285K. So the 265K, if you choose to opt in for that, which again is a great deal, $279 for it, and it comes with a NVMe if you choose the $279 version, and it comes with 2 games. Same thing if you choose to go up a little bit more and spend the $299.03, then you can, let me put it on the screen here. Apologize for that. But if you choose to go with the $299.03 version, then you get the RAM that does come with it as well. So feel free to ask any questions about it. And with this game on deal here, the Level Up sale that they have, it's they have the GPUs in stock. So if you are looking for any 50 series cards, they do have them. Now they're a little bit of a price reduction. Now it's just like at even $1,000 if you are looking for a 50 series. The good thing is if you do choose to get any of these GPUs that Newegg does offer, and again, if you are looking for any of these deals, they are in the description box down below. If you choose to go with this, what's up, Amir? Good to see you in here. I'm glad to see you here. And it does come with Doom. So if you are interested in upgrading your GPU and you want to have Doom with it, it does come with the GPU. So that's something to certainly take advantage of if you're looking to upgrade or if you're looking to build your PC. I'm looking forward to it too. I was just talking about the how Computex is going to have quite a showing. I'll get back to the deals real quick, but at first I'll talk to you about Computex as well too. There is a lot that is going on with Computex. In fact, Noctua, Antec, and there's a few other companies out there that already have their mindset on what to display. I'm excited what ASUS is going to show. In fact, if anybody's interested in displays, there's actually going to be quite a decent amount of displays that will be unveiled through ASUS, MSI. I think Gigabyte will also show their display there as well. And instead of more of the matte displays, a lot of people were complaining about that with the 4K OLED versions of their displays, because there's some of them that are matte display and some people prefer glossy because you get better visualization out of the glossy display. And the funny thing is, speaking of glossy, I never took off the original film off of my PG34 WCD-M because it has like that glossy look. Because I know once I peel it off, you could probably see the little stick, the laminate here, that if I pull it off, then it's going to just be a flat display. But the new monitors that they do have, they are going to be all black glossy 4K OLED displays. So it's going to be very similar to how LG's displays are when it comes to their like the C1s and the C2s. So if you are looking for a 4K display, they will unveil it there. There's also another display that looks very interesting. I think it was MSI? There's another display that's coming out where it's going up at an insane screen refresh rate of up to 500 hertz. So you can imagine, can you imagine having a monitor going that quick? Now, not everyone's going to take full advantage of that, because the thing is, when it comes to having such a fast monitor, you have to have a game that you are going to take advantage of for that type of speed. For example, you're going to want to play something more like Counter-Strike, where you can take advantage of those frames. Fortnite, you can, depending on the type of GPU you have, because it's a lot of speed for a monitor. And for the Noctua side, they're supposed to be coming out with some sort of power supply, I'm thinking. And they had quite the sneak peek, so it's a good indication that they are. That and Noctua and Antec are both coming out with something together. More than likely, it's a PC case. So it would be pretty dope if they actually came out with a case with all Noctua fans. And it seems like there's going to be more of a movement that is coming up. More of a movement of maybe more or less RGB builds. So meaning that there's going to be still RGB popularity, but there's also going to be some more stealth builds as well, because both of them seem like they're starting to pick up popularity, especially on the stealth side at least. So that's why I want to do a stealth build with everybody out there, because I know some people are kind of tired of dealing with the RGB side, and you don't want to try to go to sleep if you're in your PC's in the same room as you, and you have these lights kicking on just like this, and you're trying to sleep, and we know how uncomfortable that can get. There's also some new content that I'm excited to share with everybody out there, that I do have a AMD overclocking guide that will be coming out soon. I will be releasing tomorrow the Gigabyte X8, not X, but the Gigabyte Z890 motherboard overview, where it is the full unboxing, and everything will be explained about what this motherboard does offer and how this upcoming build is going to be. So it depends on whether if it's going to be in some sort of RGB build or if it's going to be more in a stealth build, and that's something that I'm still trying to figure out a little bit more, where we might be using an ASUS board where it's completely non-RGB, and because the only thing I'm afraid of with the AORUS Master, it still has somewhat of it, and it's not going to give it that true stealth look. And I want to try to get like practically like an all blacked out PC when it comes to that type of PC build. But there is a lot of information coming from Computex, including the 9060 XT. I know a lot of people are waiting for that. There is going to be Intel's card that's supposed to release out there. And it's funny, one of their manufacturers, one of their AMD companies, said that they are certainly going to release it. And they confirmed it practically for Intel that there is going to be a card there that is going to reach people's expectation when it comes to the VRAM side. So an Intel card with up to 24 gigabytes of VRAM, which will be interesting. And I'm just curious about how the power is. Supposedly, hopefully it is at least the same level or higher than the Battle Mage when it comes on that sense. And I think we could see a larger improvement that Intel is looking to develop more GPUs in the future, because I could see a lot more coming from them if they take it a little bit more serious. AMD may also, yes, exactly. We do need better ATX 3.1s. And there's also something that's very interesting here that I have to say is the fact that when it comes to the, besides the AMD side, well, actually in the AMD side, what's really interesting with them is the fact that they're supposedly unveiling something special there, but they haven't quite said what it is. But more than likely, I'm hoping it's a higher end GPU. And if the rumors are true, then we could actually get a really good AMD card coming out within hopefully the end of this year or beginning of next year. But that's to be unveiled in Computex. And it's funny, I know a few people that are going over there. They're all excited, and I'm so jealous of them being over there because I really wish I can make it over there this week. But I'll get as much coverage as I can while during the Computex, and I'll probably do some live streaming while we take a look at, say, AMD's reveal, or we take a look at Intel's reveal, because they're going to reveal some very good stuff. Especially, even Intel is going to release, where they're going to at least talk about their whole 18A processors, which is going to be their next generation. And again, this is one of, I feel, the main reasons why they're trying to do this whole big sale with Newegg. And again, it's a great deal for anybody out there who just needs a PC. If you're going and you need to upgrade from, say, like an older motherboard, it's don't ignore this generation, especially for how good of a deal it is. If you want to wait for the new generation, that's great. But the only thing is, expect to spend more money on it, unfortunately, because especially if it's going to be, well, if it's going to be crazy as it seems it's going to be, and more than likely you'll probably see a price increase from Intel, unless they're really desperate and they want to try to keep up with the competition and try to kind of lose a profit in the beginning, and then they'll learn to take a profit later. It really all depends on Intel's strategy on that side. But I highly recommend, if you go for the Intel, Intel 265K, I highly recommend that for how cheap it is, especially if you don't want to get even the $299 one. There's a $275 deal. That's really hard to beat. Going back over to the deals real quick, but I gotta say, it seems very interesting for the fact that how Computex is going to unfold, because I'm excited to see. There's probably going to be some handhelds. Don't you think that there's going to be some handhelds that are coming up for Computex? Because there's no way that they're going to not unveil some handhelds. I know MSI Claw has to unveil maybe the AMD Z2 Extreme. I would hope they do. I hope they choose to go with that model. MSI Claw could really improve on that side if they just chose to go that route. So another good deal that's here, MSI Shadow. This is a good one for like an all stealth build, maybe something like this. But look how crazy the pricing is. It's not terrible, but it's a bit high. And this is for 16 gigabytes, of course, the 5080. And you already have a 3x overclock, and it's for $1389. Not terribly priced here. I'll show you how it looks. Looks just like this. Do you guys think it's pretty impressive looking? Especially if you're trying to go like for a stealth build, it doesn't look too bad. It's very discreet, right? And the fans here look pretty decent. Now, the good thing I gotta say about when it comes to MSI is they're really good when it comes to their GPUs, as their fans aren't loud, and that I noticed their GPUs don't really have that much of a coil line. The only GPUs I feel like I really ran into more that had coil lines is ASUS. I ran into coil line before. Some Gigabyte ones I did, but mostly just like between ASUS and yeah, Gigabyte. MSI seems to actually be one of the more quiet ones. Gigabytes can be pretty good, and it really all depends on the model of GPU that you do choose. This power supply is a great one, but again, this one's kind of a small one, the 750 watt. Now this is only at $99.99, so it's a good deal, but it's not going to be good for those who are trying to have more in their system. That's like the minimum requirement now, I gotta say. Like when it comes to having a PC build, it's probably a good idea to at least get 1,000, especially in this generation, because now it seems like we just like to use up more power. Now here's some good deals for a B650. So if you want to go on AM5's platform, you can spend less than $100. MSI has their Gaming Plus Wi-Fi for $179.99, which is a great deal. And they also got the Samsung Pro 2 terabyte SSD for $170. That's not honestly bad at all. Western Digital. And I want to talk about Western Digital real quick, because with them, they actually just released their new SSD, their new NVMe. And it's actually a little bit more expensive compared to their not their predecessor, but it's a little bit more expensive than their competition, because Samsung's 99. It's funny how they named it, because this is the WD Black SN850. The new one is the SN80. What is it? It's SN. I think SN870. It's something weird. It's like a little bit off. You would think they would just completely change the name scheme when it came to the 5th generation, but it's more or likely the same. But honestly, in my opinion, getting off of the whole PCI Express 5 NVMEs here, it's honestly better to go for a NVMe that's from PCI Express 4. And the reason being is, I'm not saying it's because it's faster, but the fact that nobody's ever going to really truly utilize those full speeds when it comes to PCI Express 5. You might feel like, yeah, I'll take full advantage, but the truth is many people really won't, unless you are just transferring files. That's the only possible way you can really take advantage of those speeds between drives. So unless you like to copy videos, for example, or large files in between, then you can take advantage of PCI Express 5. But if you're just gaming, then this SN850X is perfectly fine, and you can get it for a much better deal. You don't have to get the 4 terabyte version. This is at $288.68. And you can actually go for even the 2 terabyte version, especially if you're getting it for PC. You don't really need the heatsink on there. So you could get it even cheaper at $151.99. Now, for those who want to put it in, say for a PlayStation 5 or something, then you would have to get it with the heatsink, because you need something to keep the NVMe nice and cool. So with the heatsink, it looks something like this here, which isn't bad. That's funny. Now it says with the heatsink, it's like nearly, you know what? I wouldn't suggest get it with the heatsink. You know why? So even if you get it for a PlayStation 5, right? Just go for the $151.99. And here's a little tip. Instead of buying it with the heatsink, just go to Amazon and then just look up a enclosure to keep this nice and cool, because you can get it for way cheaper. You could spend $10 on an enclosure, and then you would only spend in total $161 compared to $279.99. So you don't have to spend this extra money for this. If you're lazy and you have an extra $50 or $60 to spend, I guess you can spend it. But if you are more cost efficient and you want to be a little bit more careful with your spending, just go with the 2 terabyte version. Go $151.99. and then you can just buy a heatsink off of Amazon very easily. So another good deal. Let me go back here. Now we got all of this Western Digital stuff. So they have the 9700X, something that we've tried out. For the last build, we actually didn't have the 9700X. We had the 9600X. This is honestly a great deal, but I'm sure that Micro Center has the better deal. Yeah, I agree. $55 is insane for a heatsink, Dave. This is why I have to let people know out there, if you are getting it, getting this for your PlayStation 5 or something, or if you're putting it in something where it requires you to have an enclosure, don't spend the extra $50 if you don't have to. You can definitely get it for way cheaper. You go on Amazon easily. Matter of fact, you probably could go on Newegg and look for a heatsink. I'm sure they even have it, and you'll spend way less. You'll actually get a really nice one. Let's see. Here you go. Right here, $10, $9. Yeah, you could even get a tiny fan for cheaper. So like something like this, of course SSD is not included, but you just get something like this, and what it has is thermal pads in between to keep it cool. So that way it still dissipates the heat evenly when it's inside the PS5. If you don't have this in there, then it's just going to get hot and it's going to get damaged. It's not really going to damage your PS5 per se, but what it would damage is your NVMe, because there's nothing to help cool it down. So you can certainly get it for a heatsink like this. You want to look for something slim if it's for a PS5. You don't need nothing like crazy big. Like even this one's only like $7.99. So if you are looking into getting a NVMe, you don't have to go with the heatsink every time. These, I don't recommend getting these 990 EVOs. Reason being is that they're a bit slower. They're more about efficiency than anything. So this is only good if you're trying to save energy. So I guess for laptops it makes sense. That's why they put it for under the laptop's side. But I wouldn't suggest this anyway. Not even in a laptop, to be honest. It's sure you're gonna save a little bit. In a way, how's it saving more energy? Because it's gonna require you to use it's gonna draw more power, because it's not going to be as quick compared to other NVMe. So let me get out of this one. That one makes no sense to me. You think so? The 990? Oh, is it? Maybe I'm thinking of the other one then. There's another one I'm thinking that's pretty slow. It's not the 990 Evo, but there's another one then. That's my mistake. I'm thinking of another one. It wasn't this one. It'll come to me. But I don't think it's, you might be right though. Okay. Yeah, it kind of, so that's my mistake. So if it's not as cool, if it isn't that one, then that's my mistake. There's another one. I can't think of it. Maybe it's the Samsung Q. It's a Q something. Maybe it's the other one then I'm thinking of. Oh, ASRock. You know what's funny? That their motherboards here are on sale. I know some people won't touch it with a long stick, because just of what's going on. For anybody who doesn't know and is just getting into the whole PC side, I gotta say, when it comes to the ASRock Taichi motherboards, they are also on sale, again, for $470. It does come with an NVMe, but here's the catch. If you are getting a AMD Ryzen 9800X3D or any of those processors, they've been running into issues to where they've been burning out. So even though this may seem like a good buy, it may not really be. I don't suggest people going to ASRock motherboards because of the current issues. There's been more complaints of burning the CPUs more than any other manufacturer, or I haven't really seen any other manufacturer get any complaints about that. So Dave is talking about price to performance. His 990 Evo Plus was excellent compared to other faster drivers. Oh, really? That's not that bad then. Gen 5 X2 mode. Oh, nice. That's certainly nice then. But the other drive I'm thinking of, it was something else, Dave. It was something else. I can't remember what it is. But I know there's one that wasn't that great. I got it, I tested it, and I was like, what the hell is this? And G.Skill's also a great one here. Yeah, the B850 is a great deal. B850 is great for anyone who is interested in AM5. That's a great one to go with. G.Skill is also excellent. That's the one that's currently in this system behind me. Is the G.Skill RAM. This one is also a awesome deal, $209, and then adds $10 off. So really, it's like $200. So you get some decent RAM. This is not bad at all. The Non Plus is not great. Oh, okay. Is that what it is? The Non Plus. Maybe that's what it is. So maybe I was bashing the Plus. Yeah, because I remember there was one, and it gave me too many errors about speed, and it wasn't really that drive itself, but I know the 990 Pros are good. I always talk about those as well. And Corsair is also have their power supplies also for sale here. And for Corsair side, I'd say their RMA50s are good. Their SF series these are all great power supplies actually. Corsair doesn't really have issues when it comes to theirs. Yeah, I see. It probably was just the standard 990 Evo I was thinking of then. That's my bad. But this is also a great deal. Their power supplies, and if you're looking for, say, like a pre-build, they do have a couple here. Again, if you're interested in any of them, they're all in the description box. It'll be the second link underneath, and it'll take you directly to this page to where it shows you all the current deals that they have. And they even had this cordless air duster. I never tried this one. I have like the old school one where it plugs it in. But I wonder how this is compared to it. But this is an awesome deal, especially that it's cordless. You just have to charge it up and you can dust your PC. Definitely an underrated tool for anybody out there who is looking to, who has a PC and has never cleaned it. It's a good idea to clean it every once in a while, because the thing about PCs, they will collect dust, especially if you have your pets with you too. Just like how I have Jonah around the PCs all the time. Good idea to always check it. You would be surprised to see how much hair can really get caught up in a PC. So it's always good to have something like this. Get a cordless air duster, and it will increase the efficiency out of your PC, and it will keep your PC cool because there's nothing jamming up your fans. And the good thing is that modern PC cases, they have magnetic filters on there. So it's a lot easier to clean them. You just have to pop out the filters and really just dust it out that way. They rarely really get to the point where you have to take out the whole PC case unless it's been really neglected and then dusting it. But now you can just pull out the filters now and just dust them out that way. Thanks, boss man. Good to see you. I'll keep going. I can be certain of that. And also, if anyone has any questions about this, feel free to ask, and I can tell you which ones are like really the good deals and which ones are not really the great deals. Like these laptops, that's actually not bad. I would actually, for example, this MSI one, right? This MSI Bravo 15. I would actually pick this over a RTX 5060 laptop. And the reason being is it's going to perform exactly the same for 4 times less the price. Yeah, that's the best way to do it, Dave. Like, have your filters right on the outside. It's so much more easier to clean. And the good thing is, like, it's so easy to even wipe them down. Some filters you can just use like a microfiber cloth and just go directly down and be able to pick up all the dust. But some are more wired, where it's more metallic, where it's better to use a duster, and then you can kind of clean it like with some like alcohol and a rag and just kind of dab it, and it'll pick up all the other extra dust and other particles that are on your PC and all the extra hair. And yeah, you can see it. You know what would be very funny though, is if PCs did something similar to, like, say what auto manufacturers do, and that's if they said to let you know, like, hey, your PC is about 50% dirty or something. Like, it would, if they started giving notifications like that, like if they had some sort of sensors, that would be pretty funny. But it would definitely keep people alert about how dusty their PC really is. But and the way they could do it is measure the airflow, like from when the PC was originally put together, and then if the airflow is sensing that it's decreased, then that way they'll let you know, like, hey, there's not as much airflow, so your PC is probably dusty. What do you think of that? I think that would work great on a lot of PCs, especially for those who don't really have a lot of time. Maybe for those who have their PC and they don't really look at it too often, and then they're like, oh wow, my PC's dirty. I completely forgot about cleaning it. Exactly, like an airflow sensor. It would work great, honestly. I think a lot of people would love it if they started like building it into, like, say, into a motherboard where there's a sensor for it. yeah. That would be a fun project, right? Inventing our own airflow sensor to see to get it to work together. The RMX Shift series, for anyone who is interested in like BTF boards or like any stealth boards, they're also really good. A sail switch like your like your furnace has, or use some airflow sensor. Yeah, it is. we would have to figure it out. I got something. I've been battling. I just RMA'd my 5080 boatload of Razer cable issues. Oh, wow. So what happened, boss man? Let us know. Because it's funny. It's like the 50 series has been either hit or miss. And it seems like I'm like, for me, it's been pretty rough, I got to say, for the most part. And I can share that with the 5090 that's in there, I've had different driver issues. In fact, Amir that's in here in the chat has also, I think it was Amir that I was speaking to on Discord, and we were talking about like how the driver issue happened to where when I was updating to 576.4, then it ended up shutting down my monitor and I had to force restart my PC. It felt like using the RTX 4090 all over again when I was updating to the newest drivers. And then after it reset it worked perfectly fine. But there are issues that I even had before then, wasn't just driver related, but then I had issues when it came to Monster Hunter's Wilds. So it was hard to blame if it was just the driver itself or if it was Monster Hunter's Wilds, because I would have to use the driver, the one back in March, the 572, and then it seemed like it would work fine because I've always had trouble going through the forest scene in Monster Hunter's Wilds. It would always freeze up, and then I would have to practically do a forced restart in order for it to get back in. But the 50 series has certainly not been the greatest. NVIDIA really has to improve on that side. I don't think NVIDIA is going to mention too much at Computex about their GPUs besides the 5060 and the 5060 Ti. We can expect to hear about that. And if you're curious about the pricing, when it comes to, say, let me switch back over here into the chat mode. But if you are interested in the 5060 or the 5060 Ti, they are going to be not too expensive, but again, not too expensive, I should say, for 2025, because the 5060 Ti is going to be around the $350 range. And the 5060, the regular 5060 is going to be more in the $300 range. AMD's 9060 Ti, not 90. Now I'm getting mixed up with their name schemes again. Their 9060 and their 9060 XT is going to be a little bit more, somewhat. It's going to be about $380 to about $410, depending on the AIB. But again, these are just the pricing from what I'm hearing so far, it is very possible it can change once they start doing their showing in Computex if they choose to be more competitive. And again, AMD may have something up their sleeve. But so Bossman is saying that he's thinking the brand PNY, since it handles differently, and I never had issues installing them. Leaving the game running for 2 to 3 hours like clockwork would blank the display. Cuts off and everything else stays on. Event ID, a kernel, watchdog violation. Oh, wow. Okay. that's yeah. So that's that event ID that he's describing. This event ID, if anybody sees that, that usually indicates that there's a driver issue. And so if you have this that constantly comes up, that is a driver issue. If you are getting this, and if you're curious about you trying to find this, it's very easy to find. You just have to go over to your search bar down there and look up Event Viewer. And when you go to Event Viewer, you're going to look for the explanation points when you go into your logs here. And then let me open it up here so I could share with everybody here. It'll look something like this if you do get it. And so again, this is on the streaming side, so you won't see it on this PC itself, but you'll see a kernel, like a critical warning. But this PC's, again, very stable compared to the RTX 5090. So I'll switch over to that screen real quick so you guys could see it. Let me add it. Just gonna add it real quick for you guys so you could see it. Window capture and Windows capture event. Just creating a new source here real quick so that way you guys can see it. There we go. Perfect. So it's going to look something like this right there. Oh, come up here. But again, this is a very stable system, so it's not going, I don't really have anything on this one, but it'll pop up as an explanation point. I'll share it also in here as well. Let me see. Let me add the source here. Window capture. Just give me a moment so I could share it with my vertical peeps out there. There we go. So it'll look something like that. It'll come up on this side on the event viewer. And now what it would show is it's going to show like an explanation point, and then you're going to see that critical alert warning. So we'll get out of this real quick. There we go. But that's what it would look like. So PNY handles GPU drivers differently from other manufacturers. That's very interesting because the funny thing is I've always remembered PNY being a very decent company. Usually they deliver products very well. They used to create RAM, they used to create other products besides just the GPU market, and they also create like thumb drives and other products such as that. But for them to run into this issue, this is a good thing to know because anybody who is thinking of purchasing a GPU, especially a 50 series, this is good warning for them to know if PNY has issues when it comes to their cards. But this is definitely good to know because for anyone, again, who runs into this issue, if you have a 50 series card, it doesn't have to just be the 50 series, but if it's any card really, even AMD cards, if you run into an issue, something similar to this, then you're going to know it's a driver issue when it comes to your GPU, or it can be hardware related even. But you want to try different drivers first to see if it stabilizes. Then if it doesn't, or even it could even be corrupted. So if it is, make sure to do clean installs And this is what I had to do with the driver, the newer driver from NVIDIA 50 series, the 57640, just to make sure that it was properly working. Is Mizo your no? Mizo's Mizo is actually just my YouTube name, but I'm not Mizo. I get that a lot. I got Mizoram a lot. I get asked this a lot. But no, unfortunately not. Sorry to disappoint you, Dinga, if you thought I was. They are a great brand if you're not using height cases. Oh, okay. That's funny. That's what... And height cases, I gotta say, are going to be interesting, especially what they will premiere in upcoming in Computex. They're going to bring a couple things, I think, as well. There's another company that's coming out too. Was it Thermaltake, I think? Maybe it was not Thermaltake. They kind of work together though. There's another company, Deepcool. In fact, Deepcool is also coming out with another CPU cooler. It looks pretty decent, but it's kind of odd looking. It almost looks like there's a vertical screen, like a vertical phone on the actual CPU cooler. It's thin, but it's just like, it looks like a phone sitting on the cooler. So it doesn't look natural. It doesn't look natural as some of the other coolers. And then I'm sure some of you seen that some of the CPU coolers where it wraps around it, those are pretty dope, I think. But I'm just curious to see what more gets unveiled in Computex. Here's some things I got to show you. Because we got a little bit of sneak peeks here when it came to Computex. Let's see. Right here. Let me get over here. So I'm going to go into my Twitter now to share with you guys. Here you go. 9060 Hellhound. So some things are starting to leak out a bit here. And Noctua. We can tell what that is. That's definitely more or so the side of a power supply. You can see the switch right here. This obviously looks like a fan of the power supply. And take a look at this. This looks pretty dope too. So apparently they got this coming out where it's supposed to be like some sort of new CPU cooling tech that they have. But they got a decent amount of products coming out. This obviously is a case because it has USB-C, and then you got this temperature switch that's here too. And that's just on the Noctua side here. So they're going to come out with some decent products. Deepcool's the other. I'll show you the Deepcool one. This one doesn't look as bad either. Right here. This is one of their newer ones. So the riser cable issues, PMY has a different single handling characteristics. Their implementation of the PCI Express interference, signal timing, and voltage levels might be less forgiving with riser cables. Oh, okay. Well, you know what's funny? I feel like there's been issues with the 50 series when it comes to riser cables. Even with the current card that I have, with the 5090 at the Gigabyte AORUS Master. So if you guys don't know, when it comes to the Gigabyte AORUS Master, let me go back here. When it comes to the Gigabyte AORUS Master, now the switch isn't behaving, but when it comes to that card, they're not meant to sit up vertically. In fact, they're just like, they don't want you to sit these cards up because they're afraid of this whole thermal paste leakage. And then there's even some where there's just incompatibility with the riser cables because it ends up taking less power for your card, so you could get a good 5 to 10% loss of power when you are using riser cables to GPUs. So that is a bigger problem too with the 50 series. Again, this is mainly because they use PCI Express 5 as well, And a lot of the riser cables that are out there are PCI Express 4. I know Lian Li currently has the PCI Express 5, and I'm sure there's other manufacturers now that have it too. But if you are thinking about the 50 series, it's more than likely it's not going to be a good idea to sit up your card. Instead, just sit it in the traditional way, which is just plugging it directly to the PCIe slot instead, because it seems that these cards are more problematic if you do so, and it seems that the card's a bit more efficient when plugging it. Yeah, apparently there's been tests, like benchmark tests, when it came to it. And when it came to the benchmark test, because Bossman Lax is curious about how there's a loss of power, when it came to the benchmark test, for some reason that it seemed that it wasn't utilizing the card in full. So it seemed like it restricted the card's power just as little as 5 to 10%. So it's not going to be like a massive loss, but a noticeable loss. But as soon as you plug in like the PCI Express 5 risers, which is why they started coming out with those, why Lian Li decided to create them, and some other manufacturers, I'm sure, as well, that's supposed to improve on the let you utilize the card in full as it's supposed to. And yeah, more than likely voltage drops. And even though I know we don't use the full PCI Express 5, especially when it comes to graphics, we won't use the full bus. We all know that. When it comes to PC, we don't even use the full PCI Express 4 to its full advantage. But because of, again, when it comes to the characteristics of the Blackwell chipset, it's so odd that little issues like that can cause performance loss. So, but Dave could be right. It could be voltage loss. But this was a while ago when doing this or reading about this test. It was like probably like a few months ago. So I can't remember off the top of my head, but I can certainly find it. And I could share it with you when I do. Let's see. PCIe for PCIe for and I will share it with you. Let's see. It was on Tech Power Up. Okay, that's where it was. So it had to do with the scaling. We'll switch over real quick. Oh, there we go. So it had to do with the scaling, apparently. And it seemed that, let's see, by analyzing GPU's performance, visit scenario, game and benchmarks. Maybe it's later in. I would have to look for it, honestly. Test setup. But it was during this test. Once I find it, I will let you know. I'll share it with you guys. But I do know it's here. And I'll send the link for you guys if you want to go more in depth with it too as well. Perfect. But yeah, apparently there's, again, issues when it comes to the NVIDIA card due to that. And again, it just seems like there's always problems with it. And even like getting your NVIDIA card. I'm sure you guys did this too. If anyone has the 50 series, the first thing you're going to check is to make sure that all your ROPs are on the card. Because that was a big thing, that there was missing ROPs. And especially you pay good money for a GPU, that you want to make sure that they're all there. So if anyone does get a 50 series card, just check. And it doesn't even have to be the 50 series card, but any GPU really, it's a good idea to get Tech Power Up's GPU Z and then use it to find the ROPs of the card to see if they're all there. That's very important, and because otherwise you won't really have the full performance out of it. But so this is let me get back over to the topic of Computex here, because again, that's like a really, I'm really excited for that. Let me see. I'll show you Deepcool's cooler, I think it was. Right here. Let's go back to their page real quick. Was it Deepcool? They got something else coming out there too, it looks like. It looks like some sort of cooler, I'm assuming. I'm assuming it's going to be a CPU cooler from what it looks like. Or maybe a case. Speaking of which, on Discord, Joe was redoing his PC, and he actually removed everything, the motherboard, the CPU cooler. He took everything out and put it all into a new case. And now he's upgrading his GPU. He's supposed to get it in a couple days, so that'll be exciting. If anyone who hasn't joined the Discord, make sure to check it out here. And I will post it up right here. Maybe it wasn't Deepcool, but was one other manufacturer. Yeah, there it is. What do you think of that there? Assassin's VC Vision. Looks just like a phone, right? Like when you put it up, it looks just like a phone. Right there. Do you think that's a pretty useful? Like you could be able to just, it's like a magnet and it just sticks on and then it reads off your CPU temps. What do you guys think of that? That's not bad, right? I gotta say that's definitely a very interesting design for the most part, as it looks like a phone. Let's see. There we go. Get this all scaled back correctly here. Deepcool's supposed to come out with stuff. Let's go on ASUS real quick too, because they have some amazing products here that I went to the North America page. Here's the other device that they're coming out with. This looks pretty decent. Not this one, but here. Wish it was a bit more clear though. Let's see. That doesn't look bad at all. Like they're teasing, this one's a mouse. You know it's a mouse. And I gotta say, that's underrated too. Like when it comes to ASUS mouses, they're excellent. They're showing this product here, this keyboard. So Dave says, my PC is 20 feet from where I'm sitting. I don't go near. Oh, really? Oh, wow. That's a good distance away from you. My PCs are probably within several feet from me, unfortunately. But I keep them close. What do you think of the PC cases that some people build and they put it up on the wall? The only thing is all the dust, right? There's nothing to really filter out any type of dust or anything like that for those type of PC builds. So if anybody hasn't seen it, I was actually live the other day on Wednesday when I was on Doom. So we got to test that out to see how it was on the RTX 5090. Luckily, no issues by far, but I've heard mixed things. Now, has anybody out there played Doom, the Dark Ages yet? I'm just curious. Have you run into any issues? Has anybody run into any problems? Let me know in the comments or let me know in the chat, because I'm just curious about if anyone had issues, because I've been hearing that some of the issues that I've heard so far was that it was AMD specific. I haven't tested it on the RX 9070 XT yet, but I definitely Would love to try it out just to get a idea of how it looks like. Anybody, I'm just curious from the NVIDIA standpoint, anybody from the NVIDIA side had problems with with Doom, the Dark Ages. I'm curious if it's more driver related or if it's the actual game that's running into problems. But I agree, Dave. I want to do that myself. It would be nice. It would be pretty sick to have it, but it would just be a pain to clean, really. You would have to grab a ladder every time you would have to take the components pretty much apart and just like dust it out at least every couple of weeks, I would think, depending on. But the only way to really keep it intact, like to keep it dust free when it comes to that, is you have to have some decent air purifiers inside of your space, and that way it wouldn't collect as much dust. Of course, dust is always going to be inevitable, but it's a good idea just to have some air purifiers if you're thinking of a setup like that. It looks something like this. I'll share it with you guys here. Let's see. And this is the perfect one I'll show. Actually, it looks like this guy kind of like 3D printed it, right? The way it is. Like a 3D printed board right here. And then he has his GPU right here. This is actually a old school setup too. Just like this. What do you guys think of this? Could you have this on your wall? So there's the chassis for it. He's charging, I think, $105 for this. That wall's looking kind of rough though behind there, but I know I'm pretty sure it's just a test wall. But only supports 2 SSDs, 1 hard drive, compatible with up to 360mm liquid coolers. But that's what it would look like. And here goes a better example of like more of a modern PC. There goes the riser, PCI Express riser right there. What do you think of that build? Not too bad. Yeah, it needs clear acrylic case with fans and filters. Yeah, you gotta. So I'm looking at this, right? And I know it's open and everything. I know because the PC case is open, it probably doesn't get as hot. But the thing is, it looks like he has his fan, the heat exhausting into the wall. You see what I mean? Doesn't it look like the heat's exhausting into the wall? So it's like, if it's the other way, it would make a little bit more sense, I think. But because there's not really any space there to breathe. It's like kind of trapped air pretty much at that point, I would think. Unless you have a decent gap between the wall. Like you put some spacers or something for it to breathe. But it's not a bad setup or nothing. There goes like an acrylic case sides right here, but nothing in the front. I gotta know, is anyone willing or daring to do this? Oh, here goes a video of it, so check it out, right? See how it looks? Not bad. It really isn't bad, it's just, I don't know if it's a good idea to, I would flip the fans around though. Because, would it make sense to do that? In my opinion, at least. Would have to do some sort of test to see how well the airflow would be on this system. But yeah, that's an interesting look for it. I don't know if anyone's willing to do like a PC build like that on the wall. Definitely brings a very interesting dynamic to do that. But if you do it, if anyone does attempt it, make sure to have at least a very good air purifier and like one that isn't like one of those little ones, like an actual really big air purifier. It would make more sense. And to dust off your PC every couple weeks at least, because it's definitely going to get some dust on there for sure. So let's go back up to the Newegg sale, see what else they got offered up here, because on this level up sale, see if there's anything else that's really good to nab here. And right here. There we go. And might be neat for me to build a PC that mounts to the back of my display on the VESA. That would be cool. That would definitely be cool. That's something different for sure. Yeah, that's true. The biggest thing is trying to dissipate all that heat. Can you imagine, like your display starts to turn colors because of the heat? You would start to see it change colors. Here's some pre-built PCs. These aren't bad, the ABS PCs that they build. If anyone's also interested in PCs as well, I do have a site that does have PCs. It is right here. Just go to Mizomods and you can take a look there. And I have the PCs that you might be looking for. And if it's a PC that you're looking for, I have currently a build that's a RX 9070 XT, which was the one I did on the channel. And then there's also another one that I have with a RTX 4090, if you are looking for a PC like that. I only ship within the US. I may ship to Canada depending on how it is. I just want to make sure that any PC that gets delivered out gets there safely. That's the biggest thing. So this MSI Core Liquid, the E360, these are actually really good coolers. They're underrated. And this one even has RGBs and everything on it too. So if you have a RGB build, this is great. This is great for a MSI build actually, because it would match your board very well. And I remember doing this specifically on a 12600K, and it came out really nice. It wasn't this specific CPU cooler, but they did have great temps when it was for cooling. So if anybody is also just curious about what type of long format content is coming tomorrow, it will be a Z890 motherboard that I will be showing, and I'm very excited to share with everybody there. And most of the other stuff here, nothing crazy. The best stuff is certainly on the top. They do have the AMD Ryzen 5 7600. That's a pretty good one. And it comes with a free SSD. This is actually a good deal. This one is for the 7600. It comes with a SSD. Let's see which one. It comes with a Patriot P210. Okay, so this is more of a 2.5-inch drive SSD. So it comes with this one here, 512 gigabytes. Not a bad deal, but it's good to get the free SSD, especially if you're on a tight budget. You could spend only $202, get this processor, and then you could easily get a motherboard, which is, say you get the B650 for a good deal. Like for that 179, you're not really going to spend that much. And then all you really need is a cooler and a GPU. And again, like there's ways you can build PCs where it's not going to be very costly. Don't think it's going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars to do a PC build. Not always the case. You can honestly build 2 PCs nearly out of the price of the RTX 5090. That's no joke. You can certainly do 2 PC builds if you wanted to out of a 5090. And here's a 7900 XTX, not too bad. But honestly, I would wait, because the thing is, if you get something like this, you get the 7900 XTX, and sure, it's a great deal and everything. But again, you can get 9070 XT and it still performs well. The only thing this has over it is it has more VRAM, where it has 24 gigabytes. But just imagine that they unveiled a 9080 XTX, and then you're going to be pretty pissed that you ended up going with this. So I would just wait before pulling the trigger on something like this. And here goes a good one, ASRock B650M. And this is only $140. Again, don't forget to dust off your CPU sockets if you choose to go ASRock. But the best deal, I gotta say, I really like the Intel deals. And I do like some of these NVMe deals here. Like this 990 Pro, only $100. This RAM here, this is, again, you don't have to spend that much money on RAM. You can always buy more RAM later. This is also a great deal. This Lee & Lee case is also an excellent deal. That's only $89. That's actually great for Lee & Lee. And I gotta say, those stick out the most. Corsair's fans, if you're interested in those, and more than likely it will also come with the controller in there as well. It would have to. But yeah, that's certainly the best deals, I say. The Intel processor is the best by far, because you get 2 games, you get RAM or an SSD. That's hard to beat, and it's M.2. It's not no 2.5-inch drive. The RTX 5070 Ti is not too bad. It comes because it does come with Doom, so it comes with Doom Dark Ages, so that's a pretty decent deal. The MSI power supply is not bad. Again, I would recommend something any higher than 1,000 watts power supply. MSI's B650, this is a pretty good deal. 9700X is also a good deal. If you're curious about any of these Newegg deals, feel free to check in the description box down below. I have it there. And just click the Newegg side. Because if you go to Amazon or you go to Best Buy, more than likely they're not going to have the deal unless you want to have them price match it. That would be the best way to do it. And this drive's also a great deal. As I was explaining earlier, don't worry about these PCIe 5 drives. They're not going to be really necessary, especially if you're going to be using it for gaming. For maybe if you're into transferring your own files between back and forth, then it would make sense. But that would be the only use. The ASRock boards they have on sale as well, but I don't really recommend them as much. Again, especially the X870Es, because of the current issues that are going on with it. You can give it a shot. And the funny thing is, I always like their design, especially, let me see if this one has it or not. But there is one that I actually really like a lot. They are sick looking though, I gotta say that. But it's just a shame that they have these issues. If they didn't, they would get so much more respect. It's like right when I wanted to give them the respect that this happens to them, to where they have these issues with their motherboards. And let me see. It's specifically on the back of their I/O. Maybe it's the Nova or the Riptide. I forget which one it was exactly. But let me see if I can find it and share it with you. Not this one. Maybe it was the Steel Legend. Nope. Yeah, it had to be one of these ones. The Steel Legend, then it was. No. The Pro. Let's check that one. No. But there's one with the I/O plate. On the back of it, it's all USB-C. Thought that's pretty dope, but again, there's going to be some issues if you're trying to if you have like an older keyboard or older mouse, then you have to use a converter to use it. But I thought it's definitely a game changer, especially that we're stepping more into a generation to where USB-A is almost non-existent. Eventually it'll get to the point where everything's USB-C, and then we wouldn't be in need of USB-A anymore. And there's probably a lot of you out there that probably want to get rid of a lot of their USB-A because it seems like it's just extra anymore now. But that is something to look forward to. So if you're thinking of doing a PC build or doing some sort of PC upgrade, go with Newegg. They have a lot of great deals that are going on. Make sure to check it out again in my description box. Amazon has some good deals, but it's not on this type of stuff. It's more or so when it comes to their the ASUS Ryujin 3. They have that one sale on Amazon for, I think it's like 10 or 15% off. It's very specific products, but I definitely could share more of an insight once I get better ideas of what type of Memorial Day sales that they'll actually have. And for anyone who is looking to switch out, say, a CPU cooler, or switch out SSD, or upgrade one, or even do a PC build on Memorial Day, it certainly is possible. And you could probably get it for a really decent deal. My only biggest concern is the whole GPU side. It's still a bit pricey. You'll still have to spend a good amount of money. It's still really hard to wrap my head around it. The fact that it can cost, it's considered cheap now, but a RTX 5070 Ti, ASUS's RTX 5070 Ti, $1,000 is their deal. But to think about it, not that long ago, 5070 Ti was not even that price. So hopefully things will calm down in that sense, because that's probably the biggest hurdle to jump, is the GPU. Everything else isn't as bad. When it comes to the motherboard side, you could get a great deal. When it comes to CPUs, you can get great deals. Every other component but the GPU currently is the hardest one to get. PC cases aren't too bad. There's still, some are a little bit higher, some are a little bit cheaper depending on what you're looking at. But you can certainly get a deal if you really look for it on, say, Amazon. They do have some great ones. And the only thing I gotta say when it comes to Newegg and their cases, if you do purchase a case off of Newegg, just be careful, because I've had issues with Newegg when they delivered cases. I had them try to deliver multiple cases before, and each one has some sort of big dent in it. I gave them a lot of chances. I said, you know what, maybe it was a delivery guy, but they just didn't pack it well enough. So I don't suggest getting the cases off of Newegg. I suggest getting the cases off of Amazon. At least Amazon takes a little bit better care of it, because they have their own delivery service. Maybe it's more in the local warehouse, so it has less of a chance of it getting damaged. But if you do get a PC case, I recommend going to the Amazon side. And usually they have great deals on PC cases, and I'll definitely share some once I get a better idea on what type of deals that they currently have. Now, if anybody out there has any questions about PC upgrades, or if you're looking into a PC build, or if you're switching from console to PC and you want a guide on something, feel free to share, and I can certainly help you out on it. And feel free to contact our Discord channel, which I will share here if you haven't seen it. Our Discord channel, if I don't communicate with you, if I don't have a chance to, all of our other members can communicate with you to figure out, to help you figure out your problems when it comes to either software or hardware. But we're a really great community. Hopefully we see you on there as well. Now, when it comes to not just the case, you have to think about, you're going to need a CPU cooler when it comes to a PC build. You want to make up your mind if you want to get something that's an AIO, if you want liquid cooling, or if you want something that is more dedicated to airflow, like a fan, like a large CPU fan. But of course, if you do choose CPU fan, it could be maybe a little bit more noisy, but Noctua makes some great ones if you are strictly non-AIO type of builder. Or if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, there's either fan, which is that doesn't require any type of liquid cooling. Usually AIOs are closed loop systems, so you don't have to maintenance them or do anything like that. They usually can contain the coolant that's already in there, or the water that's really in there that's already treated. And all you have to do is just hook up the 3 fans. If it's a 360 AIO, you just make sure you get a compatible case with that. And the other components you really look for are RAM and a SSD and the GPU. Those are the main components, plus the power supply. So you want to have a decent idea of how much power of a PC that you're looking for. and you want to calculate it, there's some great websites out there, such as PC Parts Picker is a great one. You can use Newegg's Power Supply calculator and put in the expected parts that you want to put in to get a good indication of what type of wattage that you will need for a power supply, just so you don't have to overbuy it, because you don't want to end up getting a 1600 watt power supply if really all you need is 650. So there are guides out there and calculators to give you a good indication, so you don't have to spend more extra money that you don't have to. And always take in consideration, if you want to do any future upgrades, if you want to add more RAM, just put it in. And you want to also add in more SSD drives, because you're not just going to stay with one. You'll have, more than likely, you'll end up having 3 of them in there. So make sure to research it properly and try to future-proof it to the point where you don't have to, you won't have to maintenance it to the point where you would have to end up changing out a power supply. But that could get really deep on the whole PC building side, and we will do a PC build soon. What we want to do on this channel is, it could be possibly 2 different ones. There's one we're thinking of, a stealth build, which is non-RGB. We'll probably call it Project Ninja, I would think. That might be a pretty good name. Project Ninja or Project Shinobi or something like that. And what it'll be is just non-RGB motherboard, non-RGB GPU, non-RGB anything. So it'll just be blacked out, and you wouldn't even really notice the PCs there, because there's no RGBs lighting up. And it would be great for those, especially that are in, say, in a smaller room where you have the PC where it can easily reflect off the walls, where it can make it pretty hard to sleep at night, especially if it looks something like this. And you're just trying to get some shut-eye, but yeah, all of a sudden your lights turn on, your PC randomly kicks on, and that can be pretty much a pain. The only thing that you can't disable, of course, is your monitor. But again, you can always go to your power wake settings, and that's a whole nother story. If anybody out there that does have RGB problems and wants to disable their RGBs, there's actually a really option too. I'll make a video based on it, but I can say that a lot of the motherboards will offer a RGB side, meaning if you go into the BIOS, you can go into the RGB side and disable them that way. If you're unable to, there are other ways to do it, which I will certainly, again, make a guide on it. And it's that way you don't have to really deal with the headache of RGBs if you don't have to. Now, for those who do want to use the RGBs and customize it to their liking, it's honestly not really too hard to do it. There are multiple programs I highly recommend, such as OpenRGB is a great one because it's open source. And you could even put in your own code if you want to and share it with the other developers. And it's pretty compatible with a lot of boards now. A lot of boards, a lot of GPUs. And I do have a new guide on it if you are a new PC builder, or if you just had a PC built and you're unsure of how to control your lighting. That guide will certainly help you out there, where you can customize it to your coloring, to your liking. So let's get back over to, so we discussed about the whole Newegg's sales. Make sure to check it out. Their level up sales. Definitely worth checking out because they do have some great deals there. Now let's talk about Computex here, because Computex, they are supposed to release some very interesting items here. Now we can expect the 5060, 5060 Ti. I know some people are waiting on that. I know some people are also waiting on the RX 9060, and I'm really curious about what Intel will present. And I'll share an article with you guys about the retailer who confirmed this. Now, it looks like the Intel Arc Pro B650 was confirmed. First battle mage with 24 gigabytes of memory. So they're saying it does exist, that you can expect 24 gigabytes of memory. Now, what's really interesting is not only did Maxon confirm something like this, but there is another Intel GPU, which is practically like dual GPU. Almost like, remember when they had Sly, or remember when they had Crossfire, like AMD's Crossfire, when it came to their GPUs? It's almost like that, but all on one GPU. So they're thinking of having, can you imagine one GPU communicating to, say, the east side of the GPU, and now it turns into 48 gigabytes of VRAM. And that's something Intel is experimenting with, but again, that's something that's rumored, and I'm really curious to see if they actually do it. Now, the source is from Maxon, and let's check them out real quick. It's funny how they just kind of told everybody exactly about this. All right, their website's not loading. But Power Color is coming out with theirs. That looks pretty sick. Their 9060 XT. And their pricing is interesting. Now, this is more than likely not going to be the price. It's no way it's going to be 678 pounds. That doesn't make any sense. More than likely, it's going to be something more or so on the lower end. Because there's no way that would be more expensive than the 9070 XT, I would think. But this is their pricing currently. At that, but again, these are just list prices. So more than likely, or placeholders, meaning. So these are just prices just to put in place just in case if it does go up on sale. So yeah, again, just like what this article is saying, it wouldn't make any sense, because then the 9070 would be only 5% higher. So there's no way that is the pricing for it. So forget this one, but at least you have an idea of what the Hellhound 9060 would look like. All right. And they're also coming out with this. This is the one I was talking about here. If you guys weren't on earlier on the stream, this is exactly what I meant about glossy display. ASUS is coming out with their own OLED version, XG32U. So it's going to be a full glossy display instead of a matte display, because a lot of the 4K OLED displays are flat. So it's going to be, here's true black, here's glossy, semi-glossy, but they're not showing the matte ones, because a lot of them will have the matte look and it doesn't reflect as much. That's the good thing about them. Now, the true black glossy WOLED, that's going to be quite the beast, because it's going to be able to absorb the lighting a lot better from what it seems. So even if you have, say, the sun like it through the window, it won't reflect right back into your face. That was a big issue when it came to glossy displays, but I'm sure many of you probably have your PC in an area where you don't have to worry about that type of issue. At least I hope so. But this can do dual mode, where it can go up to 480 hertz on XG32 UCWMG, and then this is just full 1080p, where it can run at 330 hertz. So it has extreme low motion blur. But what I'm curious about, and when it comes to their products, is I always am more curious about if there is any type of issues when it comes to HDR, because originally there was issues with this display that I'm actually looking at. Originally, it had an issue with their HDR, but luckily it cleared up pretty quick when it came to a firmware update, which actually got rid of the issue. It made everything a little bit over-saturated, and more than likely they probably figured out that problem when it came to their newer displays. But again, we'll see. We will see. Oh, and this is great for anybody out there that is into PC gaming. Dead Island 2 is free, but unfortunately, of course, it's not going to be on Steam. It's going to be on EA Play. So if you don't have EA Play and you want to play Dead Island 2, you can download it completely free and play it. So that's the only good thing about that platform, is that you're able to download, they offer a ton of free games when it comes to it. So that's something to take advantage of if you want. But of course, that is entirely up to everybody out there. So there's all kinds of Doom Edition GPUs, I gotta say. ASUS's is really nice, but it's just insanely expensive for the ASUS GPU that they do feature. This is Colorful's version, where it is on their RTX 5080. But it doesn't look too bad. Now, they recommend at least a 1000-watt power supply for this one here. So I gotta know if there's any Doom fans out there as much as I am a Doom fan, because that was like the first thing that really got me into PC gaming. I think it was like Doom. It was Doom, and it was like Duke Nukem, and it was Shadow Warrior. It was all those type of games that really got me into the whole PC gaming side. And so far, Doom: The Dark Ages seems like it's been playing well so far on the 5090. I am going to test it on the RX 9070 XT soon. And when I do, I just gotta be able to link it up to the network, so that way I will be able to stream it to you guys to see if there is any ongoing issues. But I'm going to do more testing too, and I'll do it live. More than likely, I'll end up doing it later, and I'll share with you guys to see how Doom Dark Ages looks on the 5090. Originally, I was only playing on 2560 by 1440. I didn't realize that there was a 21:9 setting. That way I could actually play in ultra wide. It would be a little bit more demanding, and it would really test out the GPU if there is any issues. But so far, I haven't ran into any problems. Luckily, everything was smooth. From what I've heard, and I don't know how true it is, I haven't looked at it myself, but if anyone does know, if they do know, please correct this if this is wrong. Apparently on Doom, I was told that you are unable to turn off ray tracing. If it's true, let me know. I'm very curious about it, because that could definitely be a lot more problematic when it comes to AMD GPUs. I'm not sure if it's going to be a problem with their 9000 series when it comes to their like 9070s and 9070 XTs, but that's something I want to test to see if it is a problem. And I'm hearing that there's a lot of crashing. Some people crash during the gameplay once they got into a very specific area in the map. I was told that one person was crashing when they got into the part where, I guess, like once they got into like an air side, I guess, of the game, where they're in the air or something like that. I'm not sure where he was in the game. I only got to play the first board so far live, and we'll be able to get back in it to see if we can replicate the issue. If we can, then we'll have an idea if it's the game or driver, or if it's the actual, or if it's both. But again, that's something we have to find out, if that's really true, if there is no way to disable ray tracing. I wonder if there was an update in Doom. I haven't seen any. I don't think there is, at least, but I would have to go in and check. But in fact, I should check it right now to see if they did start patching anything yet. Let's see, Doom, because that would definitely change things too. And I don't think there is, not from what I see at least. Okay, so let me open this one up. So I'll share this with you guys here. Currently with Doom, it seems that there are some required driver fixes, and it's right down here. Okay, so we'll try to replicate it, where it says, if you are playing on the RTX 50 series GPU and enable G-Sync, which we have, or V-Sync plus multi-frame generational through NVIDIA control panel, you can crash the game. So we have this enabled. It did not crash on us. We haven't had the issue. So we'll try it again. It's funny to purposely crash a game, right? To see if it actually is the game or not. But next is the minor cosmetic issue. The game disables V-Sync under the hood under these cases. Issues, okay. Users with NVIDIA GPUs may find that alt-tabbing while launching the game can cause the game to launch in the background and cannot be accessible. Haven't tried that. Maybe I did alt-tab, but I don't remember having any issues doing it, but I'll retest that. Another one with the 50 series, GPUs may experience TDR, where a system hangs when starting gameplay recording using Shadowplay with multi-frame. Well, I can try it and see if it happens. I'll try to record, and I will certainly let you know. So I'll definitely take these notes into consideration here. Here we go. If we capture with OBS, game visuals may freeze when alt-tabbing from full screen. Wondering what the AI recommends this time. Yeah, that's what I'm curious about too. Wolf's friend. I am curious about this because a lot of it seems like it's all visually related. So if I hit Alt-Tab and switch over, see if that's an issue. If I go into NVIDIA's, if I go into their, into record with their program, see if there's an issue with that. And also the game can lock up manually while resizing the game window with FSR. Okay, so that's AMD specific. So we'll try that with the AMD card. Now, to avoid this issue, do not manually resize, obviously. Users who unplug a second monitor during gameplay may notice the game has frozen. Well, haven't had the need to unplug a second monitor, but I'm curious about that. Players running this game with MSI Afterburner or Rivera Tuner overlays enabled may experience stability issues. That's what we were doing. I was running a Rivera Tuner with it, and it seemed like there wasn't any issues. But again, we'll try it again. And here we go. In rare cases, players running Doom, The Dark Ages on a supported PC spec at the appropriate settings. I like how they added that in there. Appropriate PC specs. So what are they saying? Your PC has to be new enough to play. That's pretty funny. Who have the latest GPU drivers installed and also has a Intel CPU. Okay, now this is getting interesting. Now it's specifically saying that starts with the number 13 or 14 can run into persistent. Are they saying the 13th generation and the 14th generation? They're saying Raptor Lake and they're saying Raptor Lake Refresh. Both of those ones are running into issues with Doom. So persistent crashing. You may have a corrupted Oh, that's a funny one. I can't help but laugh at that one. They said that if you have an Intel 13th generation or 14th generation, if you have Raptor Lake or the Raptor Lake Refresh, you may have a corrupted CPU. Please contact Intel. That's a funny one. That is a funny one. Okay, so Doom also has some of the known issues on consoles as well. Okay, so this isn't. So it sounds like this could be more game related than anything. That is people trying to explode the GPUs by unplugging it. Yeah, that's what that boggles my mind. Who unplugs a GPU while they're game? I'm not a GPU. Who unplugs their monitor while gaming? That is quite the spike you're gonna cause to your PC. Your PC is gonna be like, what the hell is going on here? I don't understand it. All right, so Bethesda. This is on Bethesda's website here. Okay, so what's this? Now I have to go. They have a whole troubleshooting guide, and you have to put your age in. Just to. I'm gonna put 1901. Oh, it won't let me. All right, I'll put that. Okay, so this is on the official website. What channel? Oh, that's funny. I forgot YouTube did that. Well, Wolf's friend, this channel is about PC and tech. If you're into that type of stuff, welcome in. If you're not, I get it. Hopefully the YouTube algorithm is in your favor. Let's see. So users with NVIDIA with the latest drivers who have AMD Ryzen CPUs may experience persistent crash. Okay. Now they said that originally it was the Intel CPU, right? And now they're saying if you have an AMD, that sounds like either PC you have, you're going to run into problems. So it says, okay, so for their resolution, if you have a AMD CPU, disable the integrated GPU, which is going to be their practically their embedded GPU, their APU side, to disable it or and download and install AMD. Okay, so what would be the point of that? I'm assuming that's probably a newer driver, and all they would have to say is update. I don't know why they say you go in and disable the GPU if you don't really have to. But if you are playing on a RTX 50 series GPU and enable G-Sync, we kind of went through that one already. Let's see, we went through this one already, frame generation, and issues users with NVIDIA GPUs may find alt tabbing. We figured that one out. Issues users with NVIDIA 50 GPUs may. I just built my PC. I got my 5080 and 7800X3D. I haven't experienced anything yet. Yeah, that's what I've said too, Postal Beats. I said the same thing. I haven't ran into any real issues yet. So I'm trying to replicate some of these problems to see if it actually does happen. But more than likely, if it is happening, so far it seems like it's going to be game related, because there's no way you're going to both blame an AMD CPU and a Intel CPU. That's like 95% of the PCs that are out there, unless you're on a Snapdragon PC, which is not many people are going to be gaming on a Snapdragon PC, and more than likely it won't be able to handle something like Doom anyway with its demanding specifications. So it's pretty funny that they're just blaming it on any processor really and any GPU. But this game can lock up manually resizing. We know that. Using that one's the funny one. Players running, okay, we did that, but no crashing there, which was running it on Riva Tuner overlays. We didn't have any problems there. Users with certain display configurations may hear game audio while launching the title, but the game window is invisible. While we haven't experienced that, Steam users can manually configure launch options to be valid display resolution by right-clicking the Steam library, properties, and then opens a section of properties R mode. This is a code to put in there just to make sure that it goes into full screen when you're in gaming and it doesn't go into a window. That's all that is. So that's a really weird one to put in. Users with certain display configurations, well, we went through that. It's practically the same as the other. Users with NVIDIA 50 series GPUs on the 50, this is the newer driver, the 57640, the one we were talking about, may experience game freezing when alt tabbing. Okay, so it's specifically to that driver. So at least we have an indication of when it's happening. So my only problem is my one Lian Leaf fan screen won't come on, but the fan is still running. That could just be more of a connection issue. Has it ever turned on before, Postal Beats? Has it turned on before for you? If it hasn't, it could just be a loose connection. Most of the time, sometimes you don't realize it's like the connection's not all the way in, even though you think you plugged it in. It happens to me every once in a while where I thought I put something in all the way, and all it needs is just a little push. Make sure to check it out. It's going to be not on the fan harness side, but it's going to be on your ARGB side, like that side more than likely, or onto actual controller if it has the controller on there. But I would check that out. Just make sure it's fully seated, and then more than likely that issue will go away. But give that a shot first. Users running the game on supported NVIDIA hardware with the latest GPU drivers may crash at launch. No, but it turns on when I start the PC, but the Windows boot up, it goes black or blank. Oh, that's interesting. So it sounds like that's the actual fan itself. What I would do then is with that fan, I would disable it. Oh, it's not. Oh, wait a minute. My fault, people. I thought I was sharing this with you. I just realized that. But what I would do is completely unplug that fan. Make sure there's no power going into it first. have your PC completely off, of course. Don't do this while it's on. And have your PC off for like a good 5 to 10 minutes. Then afterwards, you're going to plug it in. Plug in the fan, and then restart your PC. And see if it's able to read it. Do that first, and then the next thing I would do is if that doesn't work, then more than likely it can be driver related. So uninstall the drivers and then see if it works then. Because sometimes it could be a corrupted driver in there. It's not picking up on that third fan for you. So give those two troubleshooting tips a shot. More than likely it will resolve. If you still are running into a persistent issue afterwards, then I will contact Leanly, because then more than likely there's something in the fan that's actually wrong. It could be the module inside of the fan that's an issue. But and all the other issues it looks like they're explaining are practically issues for the consoles. So we're not going to worry about the console side. And for the ASUS ROG Ally and Lenovo Legion Go, this one's interesting. So for the ASUS ROG Ally and the Legion Go, users attempting to run this game will experience poor performance and stability issues. That's what I wanted to do. I did wanted to run on the. Okay, perfect. Yeah, send it on Discord. Again, if anyone is curious what the Discord channel, I'll post it right here. And yeah, so it's not probably going to run that great on there. That's why I wanted to run it on the ROG Ally, because I think it would be pretty funny to see if it would be the issue, if it is the actual game, or if it's the. I just think from what it sounds like, after reading all these troubleshooting issues, what do you personally think it is? Like after reading it, do you think it's GPU related really, or do you think it's just poor optimization, or it could be both? What do you guys think? Yeah, let me know in the chat, because I'm curious about your thoughts. Excuse me a moment. Just checking my phone right now. And because I just got this text. All right, there we go. Just sent. Okay, perfect. I'll send it. I'll check it right now. Post some beats. I'm gonna open up the Discord channel, and let's see here. Right here. You said you sent the video already? Post some beats. Let me see. The more humanity uses AI, the less able it will be. I agree. The problem is, when it comes to AI, it can be good and it can be bad. The problem is when you start relying on it to do simple tasks for you. For example, if you get an email and you're like, you know what? I don't want to email this person. I'll just use AI to do it. Type a response to this email body. And then that's when it becomes a problem, because then there's no real sense of communication. And I do agree that AI could be problematic if it's used in certain ways, but it can be useful for certain other aspects. You can use it for ways to give ideas and then kind of build your idea off of it. Don't use AI's idea completely, because once you do, then anybody can lose their sense of creativity and their sense of thought as well. So I can agree with you on that as well. So I am looking for your video here, and right now I am in, let's see, questions and answers. I don't see any new alerts yet, so it's probably just loading in, I'm assuming. But yeah, AI can be problematic in that sense. Eventually, it's getting to the point where Where do you think AI would be, I gotta say, in the next few years from now? Because I've seen what NVIDIA expects out of AI, for example. It is in the museum. Okay. I'll go check it out. I do see NVIDIA's vision for it, which I will explain in a little bit. And that was at CES, and it was mind-blowing. The level of AI they want to, or sees the world in, at least. All right, so right now I'm just looking for this video in Discord so I can... I don't see it. Oh, did you send me a direct message, was it? Yeah, I apologize for this. Yeah, kids are graduating. I'll look for it. Try to send it again, Post on Beat. Send it to the, real quick, just try to send it over to the questions and answers side of the chat. And I'll take a look at it, because I can't, for some reason, I don't see anything. But most friend says, kids are graduating from high school and unable to read and do basic math. Many teachers are quitting because of this. I can imagine how frustrating it is, because again, the world that they see it as is, for example, NVIDIA sees the world as, if one day, like for example, we get into the physical labor aspect of AI, and it was inside of like an Amazon warehouse in California. And what they had was, they actually had these VR headsets with gloves. And with these VR headsets and gloves, you can actually teach a AI model, practically, which is like a robot, and to teach it like any type of physical job. So it was specifically a steering wheel that they would have on, say, a conveyor belt that would kind of shoot down. And they would have them actually pick up the steering wheel, and they would inspect it. Make sure there's no any cuts or anything like that. Make sure there's no any type of way somebody could cut themselves on his steering wheel, or if there's any imperfections, and that's what they would inspect for. If there was a problem with it, then they would put it on to decide to get repaired practically, or just sent in to get a new one. And the people that were controlling the VR headsets were controlling these robots to do so. And what it was actually doing was training these AI models to do their jobs. And once it gets to that point, the AI models would know enough information where it's like, okay, I can do this myself. We don't need the human side of it no more. So that's kind of the idea of the world where they want to head in. And even when it comes to organizing, say, a warehouse, like where there's many different boxes, like inside of, just say, a Home Depot, like... And Home Depot is like a home improvement store here in the US, right? So what they would do is have these automatic forklifts that would drive around, and it would actually scan the warehouse and know the physical characteristics of this warehouse. And once it does that, it sees it in almost like an omniverse area, where it sees it, not omniverse, but more like a multiverse area. So it would see it in, it would see all the possible areas where they can organize the warehouse to a point to where, which is the most, how can I save the space the most? And that's how these AI models would think. And it would be able to do that through their own multiverse to understand, okay, so this side of the multiverse, if it was able to organize it in this way, this would give me about 78% more space. They would go and opt in for that side of it. But that is the envision that NVIDIA has when it comes to AI, is growing to that type of aspect. But that's just the insane part of how far AI can really get. So it just makes you really wonder how far and of the future, or how much further would it take us to get to that level. But that's just an idea of the world of what NVIDIA wants to say. Even like if you were to call the doctor's office, it would again have AI pick up the phone, and it would be able to answer the symptoms that you're running into. Say after a follow-up, after going to the doctors, the nurse would be able to, or the AI nurse would be able to look over your conditions, figure out if you're still having an issue, and even be able to send your prescriptions over to your local pharmacy. But that is how it's looking for the NVIDIA side. That's why they have so much focus on that than the GPU side. That's one of the reasons why I could see NVIDIA lacking on the GPU side, because they're so worried about creating this new world. That's why there's so many investors in NVIDIA, for that reason too. But that is what can happen. Pretty insane, right? Like when you really think about it. So they can even train these AI models to do your simple physical task, or even some sort of craft, for example. If you train it well enough, you can train it to the point where it will understand things, to be able to detect if there is say like a broken link in a chain. It'll be able to detect this and be able to repair it itself if you train it to. So that is where we are when it comes to the AI side, at least in development. So in Computex, I'll probably go into it a little bit more. But again, it kind of makes you think, would it get to the point where we would get into Skynet? Yeah, and that's the thing. That is also a problem, because that's at its current stage. So just like what Wolf's friend says, that game developers, voice actors, and artists are being replaced by AI, and that's not a great thing. Especially like, have you seen what AI can do, especially with CGI? How it can make CGI look, how it can make graphics, compared to the graphic artist, it can make the CGI look better than how they put out. And it's much more expensive to have a graphic, like a 3FX artist to create these effects compared to somebody like AI. But again, from what I know, you have to be willing to teach AI these ideas. Otherwise, it will not be able to perform the task. So that's the thing, is if you constantly train AI models, it's going to understand how to do so. The funny thing is, it almost sounds like a crazy conspiracy theory, like we're building a Skynet off of AI, which is pretty insane. But really, it's just a super large LLM, a large learning model that is global at this point. So it is, we're getting pretty wild again. Like when it comes to the whole AI technology and how much information people are willing to give AI is even more interesting, because that is how it learns. But yeah, that's my thoughts of AI. It's could be good and it could be bad. It depends on the type of uses. What's up, Alex? Good to see you in here. I'm assuming you just got out of work. I was just talking to me and a Wolf's friend. We were just talking about the whole AI aspect. But I might be going live again later. We're going to be testing out some Doom some more later. I'm going to try to get this 9070 also set up for it to see where it's at. But again, you came in at like the time just when I'm leaving too. Oh, you're off today. Oh, okay. It's good. You needed a break. You've been doing a lot. You've been doing a lot, Alex. But I gotta say, thanks for everybody that's joined in. Hopefully you enjoyed today's stream. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I probably will more than likely be going live later today. We will be testing out Doom, the Dark Ages, to see how that is. and we can talk about anything else as well. We can talk more about PC troubleshooting. If you're running into issues, I can help you out with that. Feel free to join the Discord, and also feel free to join the join the Discord, and also feel free to join later today when I do post it up. I will inform everybody on Discord when I will be going live as well. So thanks everybody for coming in, and oh, you returned the iPhone 6. Oh no, I kind of figured that it's a bit older. Oh yeah, they have all different AI models, Wolves. I kind of figured that because it's a bit outdated. But thanks again so much for everybody who's come in. I will let everybody know when I go on stream again. Thanks again for watching.